Oh, just a quick update. I'm back in Minnesota. The starter on the refrigeration unit on my trailer went bad. So I had to keep opening the cover. I had to pull over, get out, open the doors on the front of it, and rap on it with a hammer to get the starter to kick in. Well, that worked for about a day. And it was a -10 setting. A couple times it got up to about 15, 18 degrees. In fact, right when I pulled in to the shipper in Altona, Iowa, it wouldn't start anymore at all, and it was at like 20 degrees. So when I told them, I said, you might want to unload this right away because my reefer doesn't run anymore. So they did. Still takes forever, it seems. But so Prime Dispatch told me to drive up to Albert Lee, Minnesota, and drop the trailer off at a place to have it repaired. And then bobtail, just the tractor, from Albert Lee to St. Paul to a drop yard they use there to pick up an empty trailer there. Now they've had me go there a couple other times before I came back for home time in Brainerd. In fact, last time I drove to Rice, got unloaded. They wouldn't let me drop the empty trailer for a few days at that place. So when I got unloaded in Rice, I had to drive all the way back to St. Paul, drop the empty trailer, turn around, and bobtail all the way back to Brainerd. So I complained a little. I said, boy, that sure is a waste of fuel. He said, well, I'll pay for your fuel back to St. Paul. I said, all right. So that's what I did last time. Now, I told him, I said, I'm so close to home again. It would be nice to have some home time. But I told him, I said, I'm not going to do that to you because they want a week or two advance notice. Because they kind of got loads lined up for you ahead of time, and I didn't want to screw that chain up. So that's what I'm doing. I'm about an hour from St. Paul, and gonna grab an empty trailer, turn around, and go back down to Iowa, and then I gotta to Iowa, then to Indiana to drop my load that I'm gonna get in Iowa. So that's what I'm up to today. Wednesday, June 22nd. Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker at gmail.com. Email me so I can tell your story. We want to get that shit out so everybody is more aware of what's going on. The thing about it is we need to know where these beings or monsters are so we can plan accordingly. We don't want to be bringing our kids into an area where there's Sasquatch harassing people. I wouldn't want a Sasquatch throwing rocks at my kids or pine cones. That's what they like to do. Sometimes they'll throw big rocks that splash into the river, and they land so hard they hit the rocks in the bottom, and you can hear it when people are fishing usually. When people are in boats too. Tons and tons of stories of that happening. Throwing pebbles at your tent. Walking around your tent at night. Oh yeah, this guy, I haven't shared this story yet. This guy I was working with in Gary, Indiana, we were doing ultrasound on welds for nuclear subcomponents. And we were outside having a smoke one day, and like I have a habit of doing, I asked him, I said, hey man, what do you think of Sasquatch? He just kind of looked at me, didn't know what to think. I said, well, you believe in them? You know, do you think they exist or not? He's like, yeah, I think they do. He says, I didn't see one. He said, but I was backpacking out in Colorado, and I was asleep in my dome tent. He says, and I woke up with a giant hand pressing down on my dome tent to about just a few inches from my face. He said, when I woke up, I kind of jumped. He says, the thing lifted its hand off. He says, the moon was shining, so I saw a shadow. It was a giant hand. It wasn't no paw. It was a bear. The bear would have been tearing into the tent, grunting and huffing and scraping around. But this intelligent being, not bean, but being, I guess beans are intelligent too, they know when to sprout. This thing lifted his hand, he says, and when it took off, he says he could feel the ground shake. First 3 or 4 steps as it went away. I mean, tons of people report feeling the ground shake. All these people are telling similar stories, man. I tell you, they're not making them up. They're not having a let's tell a Sasquatch lie party, all getting together and corroborating their stories. No, it doesn't happen. Not a website to do that with, and they're not emailing each other. There's just no physical possible way that all these hundreds and hundreds of people, actually thousands of people, can get together and corroborate stories like that. Pebble throwing, ground shaking when they walk, roaring so loud it shakes your insides. Some people say it was so loud it was louder than a jet engine. It hurt their ears and shook their insides. Kind of like funny car races when they go past you, man, and you can feel it vibrate your insides. I guess that's a better description. Jet engine might be a little extreme. So we'll go with funny cars. And I tell you, there ain't nothing funny about encountering one of these things. People who see them, it changes their lives. Some people have lost their spouse, left them, because they just get infatuated with the topic. They can't get it out of their head. So, and that's all they can think about. So they start researching and start going in the woods looking for them, and so traumatic that it's always on their mind. So they're talking about it all the time, and everybody just gets sick of it, and they think they're crazy because government has done such a good job of putting that in people's heads. Oh, you're wacko if you seen a UFO or seen a Bigfoot. You saw a bear, you didn't know what you're seeing. Bullshit. When you see one of these monsters in front of you, you know what the hell you seen. Bears have little round ears and a snout on them, and claws and paws. They don't look like a hairy man. And sure, bears can walk around on their hind legs, but they fumble and stumble and kind of sway from side to side. They can't run. People see these things on two legs running and walking like a human being. Like that guy I know that was in his deer stand. He said it looked like a hairy man. He said its face looked human. So, don't be a sheeple. Get off the goddamn bandwagon that the government is rolling around. Do a little research and find out for yourself. These things exist. Thousands of people cannot be wrong. Like I said before, in a court of law, if 1,000, even 1,000, or even 100 people wrote a testimony about being raped by somebody, and they had DNA evidence, which they do have DNA evidence on Sasquatch, but they're hiding it. They would throw that son of a bitch in jail and throw away the key. But when it comes to Sasquatch, testimonies and DNA isn't good enough, because they want to keep it a secret, because they don't understand it. So chew on that for a while. Just think about it. Just use your head and whatever intelligence you got, and do a little searching on the internet. That's what it's there for, to find out if Sasquatch is real or not. Yep, that's all it's there for. Don't wait till the officials finally admit it. Don't be left behind. Because if you are, and I find you, I'm gonna do my I told you so dance. And I got it down. I got it down pretty damn good. Dudes at truck stops see me out in front of my truck doing my told you so dance. They don't know what to think. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. Hell no. I'm too modest for doing something like that. But anyway, just do your homework. That's all I can say. I've always kind of known my whole life. I used to read books on it when I was in elementary school. The possibility of the subject just fascinated me. And it still does to this day. I don't know why. Most people got better things to do. Obviously, I don't. I fly drones. I was making giant kites, trying to make one big enough to drag me across the field for a while. Ride my mountain bike. Chase women. I don't drink anymore, so much for that. Drinking can take up a lot of your time if you want it to. I hate these people that can't speed up on these goddamn entrance ramps. Then my truck starts beeping at me, and if I come up too fast, it'll lay the brakes on. God, I hate that. Don't do this, people. Probably the guy up front that's causing the problem. Can't blame the rest of them. Yeah, I know which one it is now. I'm gonna go run him off the road. Can't catch him. I can only do 65. So, don't make me say it again. Do your homework. Do a little research. Stop drinking for a while and Research Sasquatch. Because if you don't, the day they come forward and admit it, you're going to be in shock. So you might as well prepare yourself now. Power to the people. Send me an email. I know y'all know somebody or know yourself. Got rocks thrown at you. You're howling and screaming in the woods. You don't know what the hell it is. A few stories from Minnesota. Quite a few. There's stories from every state in the country. Get with it. Don't be left behind. Don't be in shock when the truth finally comes out. Even then, people are still going to shake their heads. Keep on trucking.